For 28 years. Well, actually longer than that. That's how long I've been doing the radio show. But for 28 or 30 years, I've been watching the junk and the garbage that was on TV last night. And for 28 or 30 years, I still can't believe that 40% of the country applauds it, supports it, buys into it. Especially the way it was presented last night. Now, does anybody want to dispute with me that Hillary Clinton is going to be the nominee? I mean, I've been telling you all along, don't get all jazzed up about Bernie Sanders and none of these. Martin O'Malley, the only chance the guy had last night is if he took off his shirt. And since he didn't do that, the guy's a joke. The guy can't. Look, let me take that back. He's a lightweight. He's not in the upper tier. And when you're not in the upper tier of the Democrat, you are almost invisible. Jim Webb, totally 100% out of place on that stage last night. Bernie Sanders, if anybody has any doubt, they've already gotten to Bernie Sanders. I guarantee you they have gotten to Bernie Sanders, and he is there to get Hillary Clinton nominated. And it was made abundantly clear last night that the Bernie Sanders campaign, whatever it was or whatever it is going to remain going forward, is nothing more than a show campaign designed to make it look like Hillary is overcoming something so that when she gets the nomination, it does not appear to be a coronation, like she has won some sort of a tough battle. And Lincoln Chafee, folks, I really thought I was looking at characters in a bad sitcom last night. Greetings, great to have you, Rush Limbaugh, behind the golden EIB microphone, 800-282-2882, if you want to be on the program. So what did we see last night? We saw socialism preferred over capitalism. Now, that isn't new, except that they admitted it last night. It's always been the case with the modern era of the Democrat Party that they are socialists, but they've always tried to, and even Hillary tried to distance herself from that. Well, no, my job as president will be to rein in capitalism. Hello, socialism. We were also treated, and did you see the applause? This guy with Bernie Sanders is out there talking about climate change, the number one threat, the number one enemy, the biggest challenge we've gotten. If we don't deal with it in like 200 years, the planet is going to be uninhabitable. Uninhabitable now. The planet, and by the way, not 200 years, but your children and grandchildren may not have a planet to inhabit. And this stuff is being applauded. They're still fighting the Iraq War in the Democrat Party. They're acting like the last 7 years have not happened. They are campaigning as though George W. Bush is still president, like we're still in Iraq. There wasn't, all of this talk about how bad things are and how much they need to improve and how these are the people to do it ignores the fact that things are bad because they are running the show and have been for 7 years. And I was amazed at how cavalierly they approached that. The last 7 years have not had Republican fingerprints on hardly anything by design. The Republican Party has morphed into invisibility for all intents and purposes because they're still afraid of upsetting the independents. You know that that's still the establishment view. The reason why the Republicans should not fight back is that it will upset the independents that we need to win the presidency. You know what's going to happen? Even if we do win the presidency and we win it with an establishment candidate, then they're going to say, well, we got to be very careful about advancing our agenda, because if we advance our agenda, we're going to tick off the independents who might abandon us in 2020. We are handcuffing ourselves from doing anything with the establishment way of looking at things. Anyway, I'm sorry for my scattershot thoughts here, but it's just stream of consciousness. But I was taken aback by all the references to the Iraq War as though it's still going on. And all of the horrible economic things and the lack of health care. Did you hear that last night? Did you listen to these people last night? There's no health care. We still don't have health care. We don't have health insurance. We don't have anything for the poor. And last night, the Democrats demanded health care and health insurance free for illegal immigrants. And then they demanded free college tuition that the rich are going to pay for because the rich aren't paying enough now. I've heard it all. You've heard it all. There was not a single shred of anything new from these people last night. Now, the drive-bys are all excited. Folks, they are orgasmic over Hillary's performance. But Hillary did not win a debate last night. That was not a debate. And we really don't know how Hillary's going to do in a debate, although we can take existing performances to date. For example, let me just ask you, what you've seen of Jeb Bush so far versus what you saw with Hillary last night, what's the outcome? Yeah, sad to say, isn't it? Sad to say that the Hillary last night would probably triumph over the Jeb Bush that we have seen in the debates so far. And then you can throw other Republican candidates in there and play the same game. We heard that Obama's been great. Oh, yes, Obama's been great, but we still need to fix everything. But he's been great. Everybody has been very loyal to Obama, and everybody's going to maintain what Obama's. We're going to make it even better. No, they didn't say we're going to make it even better. They said we're going to fix it. They didn't even acknowledge that things are good now. I don't care, folks. And I know the Democrat voters, and I got to look at it this way, but they threw Obama overboard last night as far as I'm concerned. But it doesn't matter because the Democrat voters watching that thing last night, and there were more of them than anybody predicted. I mean, their audience did not get close to a Fox News debate audience, a Republican audience, but they got a bigger audience last night than they've ever had at CNN for a debate. We won't have the full Nielsen ratings representation till later. Of course, Les Moonves at CBS says that ratings don't matter anymore. What does that tell you about Colbert's new show? Sorry, folks, they still have the ravages of this virus, whatever it is, coursing through my body. Did you know that when I heard this? By the way, I thought Anderson Cooper was stellar last night. I do, and I know, Snerdley, that you disagree with me. I think Anderson Cooper, he came out of the box and he was trying. They wouldn't answer any of his questions. They showed how it's done. I mean, he was trying to get them to react to things they had said previously. He tried to get Hillary on flip-flopping. She wouldn't go there. He tried to get the others on things they've said that they've changed their minds about, or things they've said that are really outrageous and over the top. He tried. He kept going back to these people. I'm sorry, you didn't answer my question. The question is, and they kept avoiding it. I mean, they put on a clinic on how to avoid answering these questions. The Republicans, of course, are obsessed with answering the questions specifically because they think they have to, in order to show the independents that they're nice people and that they're not tricksters and they're not afraid. But the Democrats can play whatever games of avoidance they want. But Anderson Cooper, I'm going to tell you, I thought he was good last night. I thought he was frustrated at times, but I overall, the moderators last night and the interrogators and the so forth were not a factor. Well, take that back. Look, they didn't ask specifically about Hillary's problems. They didn't really get into Benghazi. They didn't really get into her emails. In fact, there was, I think, a conspiracy of sorts to just get rid of the email subject altogether. And when that happened, when Bernie Sanders led that movement, that's when I realized his candidacy is faux. F-A-U-X. He's up there to get her nominated. There's no way this guy is going to get the nomination. He's out there. If you listen to these people last year, here's a summary of what we're going to get if these people win the White House. You got higher taxes, open borders, no limits. Bring anybody in that you want to bring in or who wants to come in. We're going to have an even bigger government. Free college for everybody. Because 50 years ago, all you needed to succeed in America was a Haskell diploma. But today, A 4-year college degree is about the same value in the job market as a Haskell diploma was 50 years ago. So we've got a free college for anybody, and everybody wants to go. The rich are going to pay for it. We have a much bigger welfare state. Like Bernie Sanders is up there talking about how, if you've seen Denmark, we got to do what Denmark's doing. Bernie doesn't know that Denmark has reduced the size of its welfare state significantly. Denmark, long ago, there are only 6 million people anyway, so you can't compare a population of 6 million people to one of 300 plus million. But Denmark realized they had overextended on their welfare state, and they're in the process of dialing it back and rolling it back. And Denmark, by the way, is telling these immigrants from Syria and these refugees, nope, not here. Go to Germany. Angela Merkel wants you. We don't. We don't have any room for you. So Bernie's living in a time warp where Denmark was something that it isn't anymore. Socialized medicine. I still can't believe these people are talking about health care as though nothing's been done on it. We've got Obamacare. We have the law that everybody has to have insurance now. Their problem with it is that it's gotten so much more expensive than it was that it isn't free. So they can't come out and blame Obama, but indirectly they did by demanding and continuing the call for unilateral socialized medicine. I mean, this is Obama's signature issue, the biggest accomplishment of his presidency. And these people are out there ripping it to shreds as though it doesn't exist. And of course it was being applauded, by the Star Wars cantina scene that was the audience at the Wynn Hotel. And, of course, the pièce de résistance, there will be no guns, there will be no oil, and there will be no banks. I mean, that pretty much sums it up. That was the Democrat debate last night. Higher taxes. Borders are wide open. Anybody wants in, come on in. Government's going to get bigger. Want to go to college? It's free. It's not going to cost you anything. And we're also, in addition to your free college tuition, we are going to lower your student loan interest rate. Wait a minute. If college is going to be free, why is there a student loan interest rate? By the way, who is running the student loan program now? That's right. Barack Hussein took it over, took it back from the banks under the theory that the banks were ripping everybody off. So now Obama's ripping everybody off. The welfare state's going to expand to include illegals who are going to be welcomed into the country. We're going to find you health care right by nobody having to pay anything for either health treatment or coverage or insurance. And we're going to close down all the banks. We're going to get rid of everything that runs on oil, and we're going to shut down the oil wells, and we're going to get rid of guns. There you have it, and it's wildly applauded. They had to take commercial breaks, get the dandruff off Bernie Sanders' suit. He should have worn a seersucker suit out there, but the commercial breaks, they had to take them. And every time they came back, there was less dandruff on Bernie's jacket. Hey, I'm watching on 4K. I know that they are not transmitting in 4K, but I have gazoodle amounts of pixels out there, and I see things on my giant big screen projector TV. The last commercial break, Hillary almost didn't make it back. She went to potty. And we know this because when she got back, she acknowledged that it takes her a long time. Quote, unquote, takes me a little longer. Did you know that Bernie Sanders, I was going to say, honeymooned in the Soviet Union? I was rolling on the floor. I mean, that's part Anderson Cooper's, one of his opening questions. Okay, you went down, I guess you proposed when you went down to meet the Sandinistas. The communist Sandinistas in Nicaragua, you honeymoon the Soviet Union. Nobody goes to the Soviet Union on purpose, certainly not for a vacation or a honeymoon, but Bernie Sanders did. I didn't know that. And I'm just rolling on the floor when I heard that. I had not paid attention to Martin O'Malley before. I knew he was the mayor of Baltimore and the governor of Maryland. But, man, I had much higher expectations of the guy. Guy got no gravitas whatsoever. That's why I say, since he didn't take his shirt off like Putin, didn't know they're there. Student body president, maybe principal type personality or what have you. I don't know. It was fascinating to me to listen to these people talk about this country as though they have not been in charge of it the past 7 years. And did you know only one of them would actually say that all lives matter? And that was Webb. Only one of them would say that. You know, John Kerry, who served in Vietnam, he met the Viet Cong in Paris during his honeymoon. Not with Teresa before his first wife. He's honeymooning in Paris, and he finds out the peace talks are there. In fact, he probably went to Paris because the peace talks were there. He took time out to go meet the Viet Cong. What is it with these people? Anyway, we got a good start here. We'll come back and continue. Check the email during the break. I got a note from someone surprised that the other Democrats on stage didn't go after Hillary on the email business. Folks, that is exactly what I'm talking about. Hillary got a pardon for the email crimes by the debaters last night because they know they can't win. Everybody up there, from Bernie Sanders to Jim Webb to Lincoln Chafee, so who am I leaving out? Well, whoever they are, they know they can't win. If Biden doesn't get in, Hillary wins this. And the drive-bys are spending the morning telling Biden, don't bother. Hillary hit a grand slam last night. You're not needed. You don't have a prayer. That's the message from the drive-bys to Biden. But these dwarfs on the stage last night have to preserve their worthless careers as nobody Democrats. They're not going to go after Hillary on this email thing because not a single one of them knows they can win. They're all placeholders in this thing. Even Martin O'Malley. Now, I don't know how big of a capacity he has to fool himself, but it was clear that last night was not a debate, that none of those candidates were going to go after Hillary, and the media was not going to make that happen. The media was not going to treat these people as Republicans and try to create controversy or fights between them. So, you shouldn't look at this thing last night as a standard ordinary debate where every candidate up there is trying to win the thing. Every other Democrat and Hillary is trying to preserve their status as approved Democrat, worthy of remaining in office in some capacity and in power at whatever level. I mean, Hillary Clinton, for crying out, this is a woman who has more baggage than a Kardashian on an extended European vacation. And to defeat her, you cannot give her a pass on anything. You have to go after everything she has done. And you cannot let her get away with evading everything like she did last night. You have to know her record cold, and you have to be relentless in attacking it. That's the Republican objective when they get to that point. These people on the stage last night were no way going to do that. Hi, how are you? Welcome back, Rush Limbaugh. Doing what I was born to do, and that's why I am always having more fun than a human being should be allowed to have. Did you know Hillary Clinton is a woman? I know that in some people's minds, the jury is still out, but she admitted it last night. For how many times now has she told us she is a woman? I don't know about you, but I kind of get the idea. I get it. She's told us enough that she is a woman. Why does she feel she has to remind everybody of that of 5 minutes? Is there some doubt out there? Can we not tell she's a woman by looking at her? No, seriously. She can't let 5 minutes go by last night without reminding everybody that she is a woman. And all of that is predicated on she's a victim. And being a woman makes her an outsider. And I'll tell you why she brings it up. She brings it up because that's about her only accomplishment. Now, here's one thing I'll tell you, I learned last night. I don't want to put my words in your mouth. You may disagree with this. Feel free to say so. But Hillary came out last night, and she was not robotic. Don't know how they did it, but they pulled it off. When Hillary Clinton is unchallenged, and when she knows that she's not going to be challenged, and she knew that last night, she knew that Dana Bash wasn't going to come after her, and she knew that Anderson Cooper really wasn't, although I don't want to take anything away from Anderson Cooper. I thought he was pretty good last night. But at the end of the day, any Democrat candidate knows that nobody in the drive-by media is going to come after them, and particularly the Clintons. They're royalty. The drive-by media salivate over the chance to be close to the Clintons. They want to be in the Clinton orb. So they're not going to approach Hillary in any sort of confrontational way. And she knows that. So when she has and I guess it's true of anybody, when you're in a circumstance like this, either public speaking, we're doing a speech or a presentation, or you're on a round table, or even in a debate, when you know that nobody's going to come after you, you can be supremely confident. You can be extremely relaxed. And you can even shed some of your self-consciousness. If you're able to do that, you're going to have a good night. So we know that she's a very good debater when unchallenged, but we will never know, at least in this primary, how effective she is as a debater until she participates in a real debate. Now, she has done that against Barack Hussein O. Does anybody remember, to go back now to 2008 for this, and maybe even into late 2007, does anybody remember any of the Hillary and Barack Obama debates? And if you do any of you remember Hillary Clinton, the obvious runaway winner? I doubt that you do. What happened last night, when you strip everything away, Hillary Clinton was applauded and complimented for running an illegal email server exposing national secrets to hackers. Now, that doesn't happen to most people in a debate who have done what Hillary have done. Most people would not be applauded for things like that. Mitt Romney would not be, for example, nor any Republican you can name. But Hillary, last night on the stage, was applauded, she was complimented, and she was exonerated for not only the emails, but for her role in Benghazi. And by the time they had finished discussing Benghazi, it was only an issue because these mean-spirited extremist Republicans are trying to come after her. There's nothing to it. So anybody can be a good debater when circumstances like that exist. Anybody can win. Anybody can appear to be in total command and control when you know, as Hillary do, that every vulnerability she had was going to be either ignored or praised. You allow Hillary Clinton to get away with various improprieties as Secretary of State in a debate. That's what future job seekers do. That's what all these other Democrats, they let her get away with everything. Bernie Sanders effectively wiped the email scandal away, telling me he's not serious. He knows he's not going to win. He wants to stay in the good graces of Mrs. Clinton and the Democrat Party. You have to relentlessly attack every issue because Hillary is going to avoid it. She is going to deal with it like the Clintons always do. Ron Fournier has a piece today that we all could have written back in the 90s, describing the Clinton technique for escaping circumstances like this. And his piece today says, yeah, she got away with it last night, but she's not going to be able to get away with it once the Republicans are on the stage. And we hope that's true. But don't doubt me when I tell you the establishment Republicans are still obsessed with not upsetting the independents and the moderates. And they really believe that criticizing Obama, opposing Obama, the Democrats is a way to... I'm not making it up. It's become a cliche, but they actually still do believe it. Evidence was all over Twitter last night. Hillary said she wasn't there last night to talk about her emails. She was there to talk about what the American people want from the next president. Does that sound familiar? I'm not here to talk about my emails. I'm here to talk about the future of America for everyone, particularly the forgotten. I'm going to say this one more time. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. Not a single time. I never asked anybody to lie. Now, I need to get back to work for the American people. Does it sound familiar? The technique? When you are allowed, the big winner of this debate last night was Santa Claus. When you are allowed to promise to buy votes without any effective opposition response, when you are allowed to attack Republicans without any effective response, and when you are allowed to flip-flop on votes without being hammered on the flops, then you can be a great debater. And this is why the drive-bys are claiming that she's a great debater. They think she tackled this stuff head-on. She was met with these allegations. She had to tackle them, and she just swatted them away like a bunch of irritating flies. Except that's not what happened. She didn't face one challenge. She didn't face anything remotely serious. So all of you people in the drive-bys clapping your hands saying, wow, what a great performance, man, Hillary's back. That was not a debate performance last night. That was an enablement, if you will. Like, I'm a very good golfer when they give me 25 strokes. I can play with anybody if they give me 25 strokes. And I can even tell myself after that round, hey, I broke 80. But I don't admit to anybody they gave me 25 shots. So you got to be very... And look at the other thing. CNN, the audience numbers, the preliminary ratings for the audience for the debate last night were about half the size of the Republican debates on both CNN and Fox. Half the size. The media's out there talking, wow, this is huge. They're so excited at getting an audience half the size of Republican debates. So the Democrats get half the audience of the Republicans, and it's a triumph for the Democrat Party? Half the audience, half the interest, half the tune-in, and it's a triumph for the Democrat Party? Your telephone calls are coming up soon, folks. And yes, of course, there's all kinds of stuff besides this out. I don't intend to spend the whole program on this. In case you're getting worried, don't sweat it.